Victorian health and safety representatives strive to keep their co-workers safe. At WorkSafe, we say thank you. One of the many powers which you have as an elected HSR is to issue a Provisional Improvement Notice, or PIN. A PIN instructs the relevant duty holder to address a workplace health and safety matter that you believe contravenes the Victorian occupational health and safety laws or regulations. Think of PINs as a tool you can use when consultation with the duty holder hasn't fixed the contravention. It's a legal document to which the duty holder must respond. Once you've identified a health and safety matter, begin a conversation with the responsible manager. Whether you meet in person, on the phone, or over email, you must consult before you issue a PIN. It's a good idea to keep a record of these conversations, including dates and times. Allow the duty holder reasonable time to fix the contravention. If the matter is still unresolved, it's time to issue a PIN. You may feel that issuing a PIN isn't easy, but it's important that you persist. And remember, you're well within your rights as an HSR to issue a PIN if you've consulted and believe the health and safety matter still exists. WorkSafe has a PIN form template to guide you through the process. You can find it on the WorkSafe website. You'll find instructions on the PIN form, and you can call WorkSafe's advisory service for support when you're filling out the form. Let's look at the form. You need to include your name and contact details as the HSR and the designated working group you represent, the duty holder's details and the address where you work, confirmation that consultation has occurred. You don't need to provide details of the consultation itself, just tick the box. Next, the details of the person you are giving the PIN to. This is most often the person you have consulted with before issuing the PIN. The provisions of the OHS Act or regulations which you believe have been contravened or may in future be contravened. The details of the contravention itself and the specific location where you believe the contravention is occurring or likely to occur. Your suggested remedy, which is optional. And finally, your signature, the date the PIN was issued, and a remedy date which must be at least 8 days after the PIN issue date. Keep a copy of each PIN you issue. Now that we've looked at the form, here are 6 tips for completing the PIN form to ensure that it is valid. Firstly, in Section 2, you need to record the duty holder's legal name. If you are unsure, talk with your payroll or admin team, your manager, or the duty holder. In Section 5, you must know the part of the OHS Act or regulations that you think is being contravened. This provision can be difficult because the OHS Act and regulations are complex documents. There are many sections of the Act and regulations that your PIN could relate to, but 2 key sections are 21.1 and 35.1. When considering a PIN for a contravention of Section 21.1 of the Act, you should also consider whether a subsection in Section 21.2 should be included. Section 21.1 obliges an employer to provide and maintain a working environment that is safe and without risks to health. Under Section 35.1, an employer must consult with employees and other employers in regard to a number of matters. If you're unsure which provision to include in the PIN, speak with WorkSafe's advisory service. Each safety contravention requires its own PIN, which means that sometimes you'll need to issue multiple PINs. For example, if the duty holder has failed to ensure the safe storage for a chemical and the duty holder has failed to provide appropriate training for the safe use of the chemical, you would need to write 2 separate PINs. If you're unsure, speak with WorkSafe's advisory service. If you choose to suggest a remedy in Section 7, it must be reasonably practicable for the relevant duty holder to comply with. Take care to choose a compliance date that is reasonable and gives the relevant duty holder a chance to remedy the contravention. Remember that you must give the relevant duty holder at least 8 days from the date you issue the PIN in order for the PIN to meet requirements. The relevant duty holder may resolve the contravention once they receive the PIN. If they disagree with the PIN and want to dispute it, they have 7 days from the PIN issue date in which to contact WorkSafe to have an inspector review the matter. The inspector will then make their own inquiries into the contents of the PIN. The WorkSafe inspector will assess the matter and either affirm the PIN with modifications, or cancel the PIN. By completing and issuing the PIN form correctly, it's a good first step to having the PIN affirmed and the health and safety matter addressed. Next time you're issuing a PIN, follow these tips and know that WorkSafe is here to help. Either the HSR or the relevant duty holder can contact WorkSafe at any step of the way for support. Always remember that by putting safety first, you're doing the right thing.